Hey, if you want to use artificial intelligence to read images of your receipts and have them automatically entered for you, keep watching. Hello, I'm Roger Brogan, and this is Azure Power Dev, where we learn how to write applications with little or no code. And today, we're going to use artificial intelligence to read images of our receipts and automatically enter the data for us. So, let's get to it.
We're going to create a Power Automate flow here. These used to be called flows, but this whole thing is now referred to as Power Automate instead of flows, but you can still see flow up there in the URL. And one of the beauties of this Power Platform is the number of templates that are available. And if we just type in receipt, we can see that we've got some templates in here on tracking expenses in Excel, but we've got one right here that mentions scanning receipts and adding them to the OneDrive for Business. So this sounds exactly what we want. This is going to connect over to OneDrive for Business. It's going to use the Common Data Service, which has actually been renamed to the Dataverse, and Excel Online. So let's go ahead and continue and see what this gives us. Now let's look at all of the steps here. So we've got when a file is created, and we need to give it a folder here. So let's see where it's, this is going to go over to our OneDrive for Business, and I don't have any folders over there yet. So let's go over there, and I'm going to open this in a new tab so I don't lose my place here. And I'm just going to go ahead and create a new folder. We'll call it Receipt Images. All right, that looks like a good place for that. So now we should be able to go over here and select our receipt images. So that's going to kick the whole thing off. So we could have OneDrive on our phone. We could take a picture of a receipt, put it here. In this demonstration, I'm just going to upload some from my computer here. And then this is really where the magic happens right here. Process and save information from the receipts. This is essentially an AI process that's going to read the image and going to try and pull out the information from the receipt. And we'll see what types of information that can pull out after we run these through a few things. Now this is just creating a shareable link, which is kind of a nice little feature too. This is going to give us a link over to the image, which we're going to save as well. And then it's just going to add a row into a table. Now we could do something else right here. Once we've processed the information with the AI builder here, we could send this over to a table in our Dataverse or something else, right? But just for the simple example, we'll go ahead and create a Excel document to hold this. And it's looking for a location, and it needs a document library that we want to put this in a file and a table. So let me go back over to OneDrive here. And actually, I'm going to jump into Excel Online and create a new workbook here. And we'll call this something more interesting than book here. Let's just say that this is our expenses. And it's going to ask us for a table. So let's put in some information about the receipt that we might want. So we're definitely going to want a date of the receipt, and we're going to want an amount, and let's do a link to the image. That's the basics. We could probably do some more things, but we'll take a look at what it can figure out based on the type of receipts here in just a moment. So let's go ahead and turn this into a table. We'll say that the table does have headers, and that is saved. So let's go over here and continue to set this up. So it is going to be OneDrive for Business. I am going to use the OneDrive document library. And there's our expenses. And one of the things that's kind of neat right now is that you can see the information that we can get from the receipts. And this is really pretty slick. We've got all sorts of information about the merchant name and number, the purchased item name, total, subtotal, tax, tip, and some other things in there that we can pull out of that model. So we're just going to go ahead and choose should be able to pick up our table from our expenses here. And there we go. So that just triggered the refresh. There must have been some sort of time sync where it wasn't quite set up with, um, wasn't quite refreshing from the time I created the table to the time it went out and took a look. All right, so we have the transaction date and we have the total being mapped to our date and amount. We really want the web URL in the image here. So let's put that in. And we don't have a place for merchant name, so I'm just going to take that out for right now. And we'll go ahead and save this. And we'll run our flow checker. No errors, no warnings. So let's give this a test run and see how it works. Don't have any rows in here as of quite yet. So let's upload a file into our receipt images. And I've got a couple of receipts here that I can use. This is one, I believe, from Harbor Freight. So let's see what it picks out. So we've uploaded our image here. So we've got an image waiting in here. So we can go ahead and click on test and just say manually go ahead and save this and test. So it's going to go out and take a look at that folder and find the image, and it's executing. So it would grab the file there. And here's where the real magic happens right here. So let's take a look at what it found. And this was the input file. And it picked up quite a lot of interesting things here. It picked up the merchant phone number and address, didn't actually pick up the merchant. Transaction time and the date and the total. And we can see the confidence of these, even kind of picked up the subtotal and the tax with very high confidence. So this is pretty neat here, right? This is really the power of the AI model that Microsoft built a nice shareable link for us, and then put that into the table. So if we go over here and we take a look, we can now see, if we format this a little bit better, that we've got the date, the amount, and an image to the receipt here. And if we want to double check that our URL actually works, we could copy that. And here's the image of our receipt. So yeah, that's right. It was $9.90. The tax and subtitle were correct. So really pretty slick there. Now, let's go back and talk a little bit about this model. This model is going to vary depending on the style of the receipt. Okay, so let's go ahead and upload a different kind of receipt and see what kind of results we get. I've got a different receipt in here. Let's pick this one. This is a PDF, which it also supports. And let's go back over here and edit our flow so we can go ahead and test it again. Looks like this page may have got stuck here. Let's go ahead and see. It did in fact succeed. Let's go in and look at the history here. And this was our PDF. And it really just found subtotal. That was it. So it wasn't really confident in much about that one. So we didn't really capture any data. Let's see why it didn't like that. Ah, this is an Avis receipt. Now, if you look at the model for the receipts here, it doesn't really like these full page invoices. What it really prefers is something more like a standard register receipt, and that's in the model itself. So let's try another one and let's see if we've got something a little bit closer. I think I've got another Harbor Freight one here. Let's go ahead and open that. Now this is set to automatic, and it will actually go out there and poll like every 5 minutes or so, I think is the default, but We can speed it up a little bit by going in here and testing it manually to kick it off. So it's picked up our new file. It's the JPEG that we just uploaded. And this is another Harbor Freight Tools, right? So the thing that's also kind of interesting here is it did actually do a good job on the image to text recognition there, the OCR, but it didn't have any context to know that that was the actual merchant. But with the context for the other stuff, it picked it up correctly and dropped it over here with the correct date and the amount for the receipt, and also gave us a nice link over to the receipt, which we could use. And lo and behold, there it is, right? That is the correct amount, 223, 223.72. And so there you have it. We've built a Power Automate flow that takes an image of a receipt, pulls out that information, and writes it into an Excel spreadsheet. Pretty slick for the amount of time that we spent on it. And if you enjoy this video and you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and add some comments on the different types of videos that you'd like to see, and I'll do my best to make them for you. So keep watching.